All right, thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, so Paula, if you can go ahead and show us at 6:30 for us to go ahead. This is a notice of public hearing. The City Council of City of Lytle, Texas will hold a public hearing on Monday, September the 26th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. on the proposed budget for fiscal year 2022 to 2023. This public hearing will be held at Lytle City Hall located at 14916 Main Street. So this is an opportunity that we're going to go ahead and open up, see if there's any addressing on the public hearing. And we're actually going to need to go ahead and do a modification, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But we're still going to conduct this today in case anybody that saw it on the website and some of the other places that we actually send it out, see if they want to step up here. Okay, we don't have anybody? Okay. So Paola, if you can actually go ahead and show that. So let's go ahead and close the public hearing. It's at 6:31. And let's go ahead and move on to the call the order of the regular meeting. And it is 6:32. So we can go ahead and do that, and I will go ahead and turn it over for the roll call.
District 1, Alderman Joseph Morrow.
No,
he's absent.
District 2, San Cortez.
Here.
District 3, David Emery.
Present.
District 4, Michael Rodriguez.
Here.
District 5, Charles Cate. He's here. I don't know if you can hear us.
Charles, can you hear us? Okay, stand by. Hang on. Charles, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, now we go. Turn his volume up. If it's too loud, I'll just turn it down.
All right. All right. We got everybody all good? All right. So let's go ahead and move on to item number 4, citizens to be heard. Do we have any citizens that would like to come and speak related to anything that is not on the agenda? No? Okay. We'll go ahead and move on. We'll go ahead and move on to item number 5, which is consent agenda, and consider the approval of the payments of the bills. So, council, go ahead and.
I forgot to print them. Oh my gosh. Do you want me to go do it real quick? Can you go to the next one and then I'll come right back?
Yeah, we can do that. Can I get a motion for us to go ahead and?
Yeah, I move that we delay that until the copies are made.
Okay.
I'll second.
In a second?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so we'll come back to the consent agenda. Let's go ahead and go to item number 6, the open session, and take action items. And we'll go ahead and jump into A, is consider and act upon the advanced funding agreement for transportation alternatives set aside TASA program project TxDOT selected on and off system.
So council, this is the TxDOT project, or I'm sorry, the sidewalk grant that the city was awarded several months ago. We're waiting for the certificates of obligation money to be finalized because that's how we're paying for this. We officially need to approve it. Once we approve it within 60 days, I got the notes in, I think we have to make a $60,000 payment to TxDOT, and then within 90 days of them bidding it or something like that, it's the remainder $380 something thousand dollars we have to pay. And that's it. It's not a project we have to oversee, we have to bid, we have to do. We're just gonna pay TxDOT, and they're gonna oversee all the sidewalk construction. I don't know how many people were familiar with the construction or what we're actually doing over there, so I printed some pictures if you wanted to see. They're not the greatest. Let me zoom through them here. So we'll start with, this is Prairie Street. So Prairie Street runs in front of the primary school, and on that one we are going to do, let me get over here to Prairie Street, sorry. That is blue, so it's proposed 6-foot sidewalk. So it is a 1,600 linear feet of 6-foot sidewalk on both sides of the roadway from Cottage to Laredo. 10 new detachable warning surfaces at the street crossings, 5 replacement marked crosswalks with stop bars, installation of pedestrian crossing signs on the north and south uncontrolled approaches of Prairie Streets and Cottage, and upgrade to all this signage, all-way stop controlled intersection at Prairie and Laredo. If you go to the next photo, it pops up here next. That's Cottage, sorry. On Cottage Street, we're doing 2,650 linear feet of 6-foot wide sidewalk on both sides of the roadway from FM 2790 to Prairie Street. It's going to have 18 new detachable warning surfaces at the street crossings, 4 new and 1 replacement marked crosswalks with stop bars, and upgrading the stop signs at the all-way stop controlled intersection of Cottage Street at Easy Street. The next one. Keep going to FM 2790. One more.
It's not moving.
Open up number 2.
2 or 4?
Go to 2. There's FM 2790. So this is the big one here. It is 2,200 linear feet of 12-foot wide shared use path on the west side of the roadway from Bloom Drive to the Lytle High School second entrance. That's huge. That's running from railroad tracks, when you turn on 27, and from the railroad tracks all the way up past the second entrance to the school, 12-foot wide. Then we're doing 1,200 linear feet of 6-foot wide sidewalk on the east side of the roadway from Cottage Street to Laredo Street. Then we're going to do 75 linear feet of 6-foot sidewalk on the southeast corner of FM 2790 in Laredo to provide a direct connection to the elementary school. That's that little short section you see that'll get them once they cross the street at 2790 into that first driveway they have for the buses. It'll have 8 new detachable warning surfaces at the street crossing, 1 new and 2 replacement marked crosswalks with stop bars, and proposed concrete median to reinforce the stop controlled approach and the channelized westbound right turn on the Laredo Street at 2790. So we've held this for a while because of that funding, and TxDOT's aware.
What are the stop bars you're talking about?
I don't really know. So the
Is it
stop
like
bars
that?
is, I'm assuming that's probably the painted deal. This is a project, Charles, I don't know if maybe you can speak on what the stop bars were. This is a TxDOT Kimley Horn project. I'm assuming it's probably the bar that's painted across the road.
Oh.
Is that what it is, James? The white bar that gets painted across?
Yes.
Yes, okay, there we go.
Yeah, it's just the painting on the roadway.
Okay, the big
That's-
white,
That's the stop bar.
yeah, big white, okay.
Zebra stripes, right?
No, it'd be a solid white bar. So when
Okay.
you pull up to an intersection, you have the stop sign, and then right there is a white bar
Oh,
that's
yeah,
painted
there
in
you
the
go,
road.
got it.
I just wanted to make sure it was speaking correctly on that. So it's a lot of work. It's 1.5 million, I believe, total. Cost the city 400, I believe, there 400 and something thousand. So it's a
Wow.
great deal.
Yeah, 380.
Yeah.
Hey, Charles, got a question for you just for clarification. And first of all, hey, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it, especially being deployed, joining us for the meeting. Are we actually going all the way from the library down Bloom Drive on that project? Or are they stopping at the library? I know we've had different discussions on that.
I believe that it's from Bloom Drive, Mayor.
So,
I know whenever we had done the preliminary plans, we had talked about on the east side of 2790 going to Bloom Drive, but I think we finally, the final project was from Cottage north along 2790 down the eastern side there of
So the-
2790.
so the
I think it goes up to Laredo Street, I believe.
so the closest entrance to the railroad?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
That's correct.
thank you.
Any other questions on that's what we're doing over there? And it was a great project that's going to give our kids a spot to walk safely on either side of that road. It is quite hairy already if you're a kid walking down. You got to walk in a bar ditch, and if it's raining, you're in the mud. or you get up on the roadway and take a chance of getting hit. So
Yeah.
it's a great project. It's just something that, we need to approve and get moving forward.
Yeah. The only thing I would probably say is we'll just need to work very closely with TxDOT or their contractors. I know some of the places where they're going to be putting the sidewalks, we have some utilities, so we'll need to address, those locations just to make sure. So,
In talking with Kimley Horn, the engineer that drew this project up, they're aware of those and said it's not going to impact them. They would be under that sidewalk though. So if we ever do have a leak, we'll be tearing up sidewalk. We don't have any, at this current time, there's nothing budgeted for moving utilities as part of this project.
yeah. So, we've talked about valves. We'll talk about it, but there's certain things that we need to make sure that the engineer, make sure that we keep things exposed in certain parts, depending on where they're going. So,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, we'll just talk about it.
Okay.
Important stuff. Okay. Council?
I think it's necessary, especially right there when the rains, and when it rains pretty hard, it gets flooded. So it'll help the kids.
No, yeah, definitely. It's a great, if you just look at the map and that area, whether it's athletics or whether it's the band, or the kids after school going over to the library, it just gives the opportunity for them. And then connecting points for the school district in that whole area, it definitely does provide. And for the residents that are there too. And also for them to take advantage. We have a few more sidewalks. We've talked about being very limited on sidewalks. In a very congested area of our city, that would be a good thing for us to be able to do. in
Yes,
that
sir.
area.
Provides an increased safety margin too for our kids walking between campuses on, what's typically a 4-foot wide side. Now they're getting a 6-foot wide sidewalk, and we've got actual pedestrian enhancements in the area, in the intersections.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you need a motion on this?
Yes, sir. We sure do.
Well, I move that we approve the advanced funding agreement for transportation alternative set aside program project TxDOT selected on-off system.
Okay.
I'll second it.
I got a second. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Read that. All right, council, I think we're gonna go ahead, and if we can just go ahead and shift, we'll go ahead and go back to item number 5, consent agenda. Consider the approval of the payment of the bills. So if you can please take a look at those.
Yeah, okay.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the city bills, payment of the city bill.
Got a motion on the floor?
Second it.
Okay, got a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Appreciate that. So let's go ahead and move back into the open session items. Go to B. Consider and act upon the bids received for city's proposed agreement for municipal brush pickup service.
So we bid that contract again. It was time. We only received one bid. It was from the same contractor we currently use, Hector Burr Construction, at the exact same amount of $52.25 per month. My recommendation, we award the bid back to them, and we work with legal to draw up an actual contract. I couldn't find any contracts we signed with them, and speaking with them, and they said they've never actually received a contract. It was just a signature on the bid agreement. We need to actually have a contract on, based off what the bid specs we put out.
Mayor, I make a motion that we award the contract to Hector Barra.
Okay. Got a motion on the floor?
I'll second.
Got a second?
How long do we have this new contract?
It's every year, 1 year
It's
contract.
yearly?
Yeah, it's yearly, yes, sir.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. C, consider and act upon contract renewal with volunteer fire department.
It is also that time again to renew the fire department contract. Based off of everything that's going on and some increases, we gave a $1,000 a month increase to the fire department to $102,000 to provide fire protection for the city for the 1 year period.
So the 12 is just basically for additional expenses. It's not like you're bringing in additional person or.
So yeah, so I can tell you on the fire department side, it did, that additional monies allowed for a larger budget for staff. So the fire
Good.
department went from 2 paid personnel 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to now 3 paid personnel 24/7.
Nice.
Getting better, and that was because of the increases from not only the city, but the other entities the fire department contracts with.
Okay, good.
Can you explain what it is we have with the volunteer fire department and why the word contract is there?
The city does not have a fire department to provide fire protection within the city, so it has to contract with a service provider to provide that service. That is what the fire department does. And based on the contract, they're required to provide fire protection, emergency response, supply all the equipment, insurances, and everything like that to provide or to respond to the incidents. And then monthly, we give the fire department a stipend in exchange for them turning in paperwork on how many runs they made. So that's what we turn that in every month, and it shows they made this call on this day, this was the case number, this is what they responded to.
And how do they make their money?
The fire department signs a contract with several entities, the city of Lytle, Medina County ESD number 5, Atascosa County ESD number 1, and Bexar County ESD number 5. They also receive on the, I think it's the water bill here, donations. So if a resident that lives here wants to donate monthly on their water bill, they can add that on. So they get what's called citizens contribution on that. And then any other donations that are sent to the department throughout the year, as well as billing services. So if the fire department responds to a traffic accident or commercial fire, an 18-wheeler crashes or catches fire on the interstate, the fire department can bill for that service to help recoup some of the cost and the wear and tear on the equipment.
It's a nonprofit, you might.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the fire department is a nonprofit organization, it's a 501c4.
Thank you.
Well, I move that we renew the contract for the Lytle Volunteer Fire Department.
Got a motion on the floor?
I'm going to second that.
Got a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and move on to D. Consider and act upon ordinance 22-10 adopting the budget of City of Lytle, Texas for fiscal year 2022-2023, beginning October the 1st, 2022, and ending September the 30th, 2023, and ordering same fill with the city secretary and county clerk. So we're going to have this as an item for us to go ahead and take into consideration for action. I will tell you, just because we needed to make sure that it was also included in the newspaper, we are going to go ahead and put another hearing together for the next meeting that we're going to have, and we're going to go ahead and come back and re-ratify what we're actually doing today. We did talk to our city attorneys for advice. We reached out to the state also for advice. So we're going to go ahead and press with what we actually have. So I'll turn it over to Matt and Lynette to go ahead and cover this portion of it.
Okay, council, so I'm gonna go, we've talked about this in budget sessions before, so I'm gonna cover the top section. Page 7 on the form that I gave you is our all funds summary. Typically something that is never really produced to the council, but you can see all the different funds we have. We need to go in and clean some of those up. We have quite a few funds, or quite a lot of funds in there that we need to work on. But in total, in all funds the city has, we have $3.4 million sitting in the bank. Over on the budget summary, you can see there just a holistic approach of it. Income of $16,778,898 with a total expense of $16,398,360. The difference is our ARP funds money. We have been told now by the state, we should have already got it, the state's running behind, but we were just told that they are releasing those funds. We have not obligated those funds somewhere within this budget because we are not sure how these projects that we're doing for certificates of obligation, the water, mainly the water expansions we're trying to do, the numbers we got on that were from some time ago. So I'm afraid those budgets or those amounts are going to be higher. So we want to kind of keep that money there and use it anywhere we need within infrastructure. Just a couple quick charts we threw in there. On page 10 and 11 shows the certificates of obligation that we just approved, the $1 million for the streets and sidewalks, and then the 7.5 for the water and sewer information there. On revenues, that's a breakout on the revenues there. So again, that's all of our revenues the city receives. Down at the bottom, typically before we would have a fund. It said fund for animal control, fund for library, and it showed their revenues for each one and it showed their expenses. And they didn't bring in enough revenues to cover their expenses. They should have been under the general fund, so we're moving everything in that direction. So down towards the bottom of that is the revenues for both the library and the animal control. Kind of minuscule based on the whole scheme of things, but we threw those in there. The difference is you can see there is the 100s is your general fund, the 120s, the numbers that we start with, the 120s is your library, and the 150s is the animal control. I know there was a question on whether or not one got repeated twice, and it wasn't. Each one has animal control and library has a list for money-making projects, so they're two different ones. General administration on your expenses, that's how we broke them down. Again, these are a little higher because we're moving things like your volunteer fire department, your ambulance building, things that were, emergency management, those things were always under the public safety budget. So it didn't give the police department a true cost of what their budget was. The chief asked that we give him a true cost and he be in charge of actually his budget, know to a penny what he's approved to spend. That's what this budget does. So administration is what it takes for the three of us, me, Paul, and Lynette, in here, and then those costs for administration. So you can see that the total expense is $1.8 million for that, $231,000. And if you'll have any questions along the way, please feel free to stop me and I can cover each line item. Into the police budget, you can see there we broke them out. The items that don't have an actual account number next to it is something we gave. So like the police department needed attorney and legal fees. They're going to be fixing their policies this year. So we got to give them a budget. Before, when they did that, it kind of just rolled, I guess, into administration's budget. So this, again, will give a true cost to the police department, and they'll work with our city attorneys to go through and start approving some of those line items. So total cost on the police department expense-wise is $1,068,796.49. There is no line item for the new police cars in there because that won't come out until the next year's budget, because the first payment will be due a year from the date we signed that contract, which now we're being told cars may not even be in until May. Municipal court. This one's, a lot of this is going to be new. You're going to see that in the 2021 budgeted and actual, there's no numbers there because they were convoluted with the police departments. So that's why we separated them. So now you'll see that the actual true expense for municipal court cost us $322,907. That's our actual cost to run the police, or to run municipal court. General fund in your streets and parks. That one's pretty elevated, but that's because we got the $985,000 in there for bond money for the sidewalks and paving of streets. But that total expense is $1,659,967. Community center expenses, $78,600. Your library fund, that's $262,672.50. I think there were some questions on the utilities in some of these funds. They are high. We kept them high even though our expense for the year was lower than what was budgeted, because when you go back and look at, I'd have to go back to each bill for every month for a year and break each one down and calculate it, because sometimes when those bills come in, prior regime wouldn't break those down appropriately. They would just say, hey, we got a CPS bill for $5,000, credit that to this department, credit that one, and then in the end think, well, it's just a wash, and unfortunately it's. So this year we will actually have true cost on what it cost on utilities and everything. Animal control, you'll see their total expense, $313,581. couple charts there. That covers your general fund. That's your incomes and your expenses in your general fund. Into your water fund, your income, $8,258,516.58. Keep in mind, $6.1 million of that is certificates of obligation money that we've got earmarked for the water projects there. We also got in the ARP funds of $380,000 showing in there. You'll see the increase in your water fees, water fees, impact fees, stuff like that. We're anticipating, number one, the increase in rates that we passed already, and based off the number of homes, these developers are telling us they're still going to build in this coming year. If they don't, or that comes short, we'll just have to amend the budget and go from there. But that's based off their numbers. Water fund expenses, $7,877,910. Again, $6.1 million of that is for the water project, the big water project we're doing there. We're going to be transferring some money. Typically, I'm assuming what they would do at the end of every fiscal year is transfer money at the end of the year in these funds down here, like the water reserve, water acquisition. Sometimes those weren't always done. So you'll see we're actually transferring quite a bit of money, and then we'll be looking at purchasing water rights and stuff like that in the near future. Your gas fund, your income there, $516,530. Nothing big on that. Again, just an increase that we have in our rates, which is the reason for the changes there. Our expenses, $514,730. You'll see some changes here because we had to move some employees around to make the gas fund work. The gas fund in years past didn't always make budget, so we adjusted that by moving higher paid employees out of a lower income fund and moving those employees around. So that way the budget actually is a wash there. Your sewer fund income, $2,497,165. Even $1.4 million of that is certificates of obligation money. And then your expenses total $2.4 million, or $2,497,165. Again, $1.4 million is for the consulting and engineering for the design of the sewer plant expansion. And these are numbers that we received from our engineers on what those costs would be. So it's the best estimates and stuff we can come up on those bigger numbers. I know that's kind of a quick rundown of it. It's been on our website. Everybody's had it. We've done a couple budget meetings on it. So I'll entertain any questions with Lynette and I, if there's anybody has.
Lynette, anything?
I'm waiting for questions.
Okay. See if we have anything. I do want to, if you have any questions or anything to bring up, I do want to go ahead and thank you guys for all the work on that. It's been an extremely busy session. I don't think, and Sam, you've been here. You know that this budget and everything else that we've been doing, especially with the certificate of obligations, we've had a lot more on the plate to try to go ahead and take care of this. So appreciate everything that we've been doing.
This is actually, and the best I can tell by looking at the state law, everything the budget's supposed to have in it to present to council. Maybe some in the past didn't always have it. So we're trying to do a better format for the council and have something a little better looking when we present it to the residents of the city, and they can actually go through and find what they're looking for a little easier.
Yeah. And for the council, as you're aware, our auditor, when we had our audits, had actually identified certain areas that needed improvement. So there was a lot of work that Lynette actually did on that, and Matt, to go ahead and get us lined up where it's a little bit easier for us to be able to distinguish and track the money where it's being appropriated and where it's being spent instead of just a big overall pot. So it works out better for us and be able to do that.
Yeah,
so.
You won't see the interfund transfers for library and animal control. It always looked like they had a big deficit. They didn't, because in the end of the year we'd have to transfer whatever they need out of general fund to support them. They're covered under general fund, like they should be. So. Oh, the one thing I did change in here is for the library. I put in some extra money for the roof. So initially we didn't have that, and I remembered the roof project, and we had some. So
How much did that come out to, Cassandra?
I've had two different estimates.
We've had a couple estimates. There's one that's within our budget range, and he's agreed to do all three of the roofs over there for that.
Oh, good.
That price, and
Good.
it's within. I didn't have any idea. I threw a number out there and in the budget, and lo and behold, his actually came in.
Right.
The shingled one, the metal roof one was a little high, and then
That's
the other
okay.
shingled roof one we got was as high as the metal roof. So this is a reputable roofing company.
And Cassandra, how long have you been talking about doing the roof over your place?
Wow.
It has, right? So this is a good thing. This is a good thing, being able to take care of your facility.
Yeah,
So
once
that's
we
awesome.
once we got an approved budget in a couple, everything's said and done, we'll contact them and get it coordinated and getting that roof replaced over there.
Lynette, do you think having this new budget formatted out the way it is will make our audits go smoother next year?
The way that Deb and I wanted to do it was roll those funds. It's not really a fund. So you've got your business activity, you've got your governmental activity. So if you look at the way that we reported it on the audit, we wanted to separate those two.
Yep.
Because it's really not a fund, it's not dedicated funds. So yes, it'll make it, I can't say quicker. I mean, I'm not gonna take it out a day, but we'll still be running 4 days.
Good. Okay. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Hey, can you please state your name and your address so we have
I'm
it?
sorry that I missed my opportunity to speak or be quiet forever. I
No,
should speak at the
no, none at
beginning.
all, ma'am.
But my name is Maria Bereni.
Okay.
I'm a resident of Lytle since 1986, 87.
Okay.
It's quite a long time. And I'm here to express my concern. It's my concern, but maybe it's going to be interested for the community and everybody else. So my concern, it is about the rules and regulations, the strict regulations and rules for the payment of the water bills. And I know that maybe I'm wrong with the dates, but I know that the 10th day of each month, the water bills, sewer, and trash should be paid. On the 11th day, that's it. A fine have to be charged. I understand on the 16th day, the water is cut off and has to be paid with fees plus the drains all the water. So that is a big concern for me myself. And this is why I decided to come over here to the council meeting to ask for a little bit of empathy from you, the council members.
Yes, ma'am.
And
So what we can do, just because of the way that the sequence of the meeting goes, we kind of have to stick to what we actually have to go ahead and take action on. But what we'll do is we'll definitely get our city administrator and our finance director that overlooks the utilities to get together with you, and we'll get all your information. We'll talk about the procedures, what are some of the recommendations, and if you feel after talking to them that you want to put it on the agenda, we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting, and then it can come up for action for the council.
it is, it is, I know that I'm not gonna say how to rule the city businesses, because I know the rules and regulations must be followed. However, I'm sure that there are people way out there that are going from paycheck to paycheck, or maybe not even a paycheck. So this is why I am very concerned, because it happened to me personally. In one of my trips, we thought we were gonna come back before the 10th to pay the water. However, it was not possible. Our trip was not able to allow us to be here at 10, and we were surprised that we didn't have any water at 2 o'clock in the morning when we returned. And this is why I am here. And then it happened again. I was gonna be out of the country again in the middle of the month. I did not know how much I should pay, and I left a note that with my Lytle State Bank information to withdraw the amount of money, and I think the note was really ignored, or maybe
Yes,
They
ma'am.
were shut down.
Well, we can go ahead, we'll go ahead and address it, we'll take a look at it, and like I said, I want them to get with you so we can get all the background and look at our procedures, right? And see if there's anything in there. And then if you still don't feel adequate with the information, you can go ahead and request for it to be put on the agenda, and we can come back over here and we can go ahead and actually get into more discussion and try to figure out different things, okay?
That's wonderful because.
Miss Maria, why don't you come in tomorrow at 9 o'clock and come sit with me and talk with me, and we'll look at everything. Are you busy tomorrow?
I'm sorry, I'm start working already, so, it's gonna be not a good thing.
I can brief
Well,
council.
But I'll let you know
During my
when.
administration
You know what,
reports.
you come in
Okay.
anytime you have an open time and come and sit with me, and we'll go through the whole thing, okay?
Very good, and as I say, maybe it's only for me because I had the personal experience, but this might help the community because it's very strict. I know that, I'm not gonna say how to run your business because, the city of Lytle has a business to run, like I was listening at what you were reading. And there are ways to accommodate money from one line to the other, or just be a little bit concerned about us because
Yes,
we are
ma'am.
there.
Yeah, we'll definitely address the situation, and then we'll go ahead and take the next steps. But get with Miss Lynette, okay?
Thank
and we
you very
definitely-
much. I really appreciate it, and don't think I am a complainer, but it's a concern that the rules are very strict.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very
No,
much. I
thank you for
appreciate
being
you
here, ma'am.
listening.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
That'll be good. Awesome. All right, council.
I move that we approve ordinance number 22-10, adopting a budget for the city of Lytle, as explained in the agenda item, for October 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2023.
Okay, got a motion on the floor for us to go ahead and approve.
We'll go ahead and second that.
Got a second? Okay. Any further discussion?
I have a question there.
Yes.
And Matt, maybe Lynette, y'all can answer this. It stems from how the debt servicing payment is going to work moving forward. The way that I understand it is that for, I guess, 2023 fiscal year, we're going to be able to make those payments out of that certificate of obligation that we just got issued. My concern is for future years and where that revenue is going to come from, because by my math, it's approximately about $700,000 that we're going to need to be coming up with. And I don't see us seeing that increase for another probably 4 or 5 years as far as property taxes are concerned. So as far as our plan moving forward, what is it?
So
How
it's
are we
this-
gonna get there?
So it'd be the same as the plan when we started looking at all this. We have to look at our utility rates. This is a project that council wanted to take on to get the projects done. And we've always talked about the income to pay those expenses. That's why we did a slight utility rate increase that created some of that revenue for us. And then as these homes continue to build, the projections that we got from Samco show the payments being made from impact fees and connection fees, stuff like that we have. We will have another utility rate, a formal one done this budget cycle to see where we should be with our utility rates. I don't anticipate us ever being able to get there in 1 year because it's probably going to be a lot higher than we need to be, but it's going to be an incremental increase over time to get us where we need to be. And as we continue to add customers on our utility, it's just going to generate additional revenues for us. Of course, we're going to have additional expenses too, but that's where we got to work on figuring out how we control other expenses. Bond payments come first, and then we figure out what's left in the kitty to run the city.
Yeah, I mean, as we all are aware, you know, these aren't the last projects that the city's gonna need. You know, the reports from the engineers are saying we're gonna need considerable amount of work. And I think that we've seen, going through this process, how those costs have increased whenever that estimate first came out. And this is not the last certificate of obligation that we're going to need for infrastructure. And chances are probably better than not that we're going to have to go out for some sort of bond election to pay for these infrastructure improvements.
Yes, sir.
So that's my concern.
I agree with you
in
wholeheartedly.
adopting the lowest possible rate because, let's be honest, we're going to be hit with some sticker shock next year whenever it comes time for a budget again, and the tax rate does jump considerably.
Yes, sir. I don't disagree with you. We got a lot of growth and infrastructure we need to do in the city, and unfortunately, it takes money to pay for those. And the only way we generate that is through ad valorem and sales tax. We can continue to get commercial properties to generate more sales tax. I mean, it's just, I don't disagree with you. So any way we can secure funding, the better off we're going to be. And we'll continue working with grants to secure funding for some of the grant projects we can do, and move forward from there.
Roger that. Okay. Any other items for discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay.
And Mayor, were you an aye? I'm sorry, it's a recorded vote for everyone. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Abstain.
All right. No, we appreciate it. I think it'll be good for us to go ahead and do that. And like I said, to the council, based on our legal advice, we'll actually go ahead and be looking at this on the next one and giving an opportunity to go ahead and do that. Even though we did publicly put it in different sources out there, we just want to make sure that we cover all the bases and go along with that. All right, let's go ahead and move forward to E. Consider and act upon ordinance number 22-11, approving the appraisal roll, setting the tax rate, specifically separate components of such rate for maintenance and operations and for debt service of the city of Lytle, and setting an effective date.
So council, you'll see our maintenance and operation is 0.3139 per hundred. The interest in sinking is 0.0505 per hundred. So it gives us our effective tax rate of 0.3643. That is our voter approval rate. And that's what I recommend.
Matt, what's that increase?
I'm sorry?
I need that increase from last year. What was it from last year?
Last year's overall was 0.3905 per hundred. I'd have to look and see what the actual rate, like the INS and M&O was, that are being, oh, I'm sorry, I got it right here. Describe.
How much percentage increase? Because that's what we have to vote on. You got the percentage?
I think I've got it actually set right here in a percentage. Oh, I'm sorry, 10.6%.
10.6%.
It increased for, that's the budgeted amount, that's what it brings in more. And then, my only question to Jesse on the ordinance, under 6, it talks about taxes are payable to the Office of the Tax Assessor Collector of Atascosa County. Until February of 23, we're still gonna collect our own taxes, so do we need to fix something in just that verbiage to also add our
Yeah,
tax?
I did revise it to say that it'd be payable to the city or its designated entity.
Okay.
That may just be an older version.
That's what, okay, then that's, yes, okay,
Mhm.
awesome.
Okay.
Oh, here's the actual,
That's the statutorily required.
the verbiage, so whoever wants to make the motion, I don't know,
So they have,
Sorry for my chicken scratch.
Mayor, I move that the tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 0.3643 per hundred, which is effectively a 10.6% increase in the tax rate.
okay, have a motion on the floor?
Is that higher from,
it's actually lower.
oh, lower?
Yeah, last year was 3.9, oh, not an increase, I'm sorry, decrease, it's not an increase, I was looking at the increase in total, I'm sorry. Is it, yeah, we actually have a decrease in our tax rate.
All right.
We went, last year we were 3.905, this year we're going to 3.643 because we have the added value She said increase, I'm sorry.
All right,
The
so,
increase will actually bring in more money to
so
assist
is it
you.
a 10.6% decrease?
No.
No?
No,
Okay.
hang on. You asked for an increase, I was looking at the overall.
What happens is they call it an increase because the total revenue is more than.
The total
Okay.
revenue is more, yeah.
And so therefore results in. a total
Okay, so I
Increase
I
it,
stated
but-
the
You stated
motion
it.
correctly. Okay, thank you, Justin.
In that case, go ahead, second it.
You got a second? Okay. Discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Motion carries forward. Appreciate all the work you guys did on that. Thank you, thank you.
That was
just
a first for me, so.
be able to
It's
take
the first
care of
time
that.
I've ever done one of those for a city.
So make it a lot easier, especially with having all the components now and having access to all the information that we need.
Yep.
So I appreciate that. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. We're doing good. Let's go ahead and take care of F, update on drainage issues on Lakeshore Estates.
So
Go.
council, couple things we can look at. Again, it would be my overall opinion that we have an engineer do the entire plan to tell us what we should do to fix the entire problem. I understand we're trying to fix an issue that one person's having, like Mr. Cates mentioned in the past. If we fix one thing, we throw a Band-Aid on one thing, what's the effect on somebody else? And looking at it, I can see some effects already on people that would be downstream of that. However, if the council chooses, we can look at an option if I can get CPS to the table. CPS has a power distribution box that sits right there in that drainage area that currently is outside of the flooded area. If we adjust that and cut those berms down like what's been mentioned, and we can find the money to do that, and we're able to do it ourselves, I think that's going to put that electrical box underwater. And it doesn't take but about 6-8 inches of water, from what I recall talking with CPS, for that water to then get into the actual main distribution power portion of it, potentially energizing all the water. So I've sent an email out to CPS Energy, our contact with them, to see what the process is, if they would even raise it, what that cost is, anything. Have not heard back. It would take some time for them to figure all that out and calculate it. So I don't really know how council wants to move on this. I can get information back from CPS on what that cost would be or what that process is. And looking at just the cost for the rock, to do just the rock on a portion that we talked about, 9 or 10,000 just for the rock. Then we'd have to figure out when Public Works could get over there and physically do all the work. Then we still have to figure out concrete stuff. I mean, I don't know how council wants to move on. It's a big ticket item. I can tell you, the RFQ is ready. I just need to determine dates we're going to issue it and close it on the entire drainage study for out there. I've reached out to the previous engineer. They don't have any records on the flooding, on the drainage area out there, I guess. I'm not sure. A lot of stories have passed from that time on how that transpired. I reached out to a gentleman that said he had the information, was going to share it with me, and have yet to receive a call back on come pick it up. So I don't really know. We're trying to fix a problem. I agree there's a problem, but
What I think we
How do we
still
fix it?
need, I mean, the biggest thing, we still need to get CPS. I mean, can't,
Well, that's the first step on a
we're on a
temporary
temporary fix.
possible
yeah.
relief of some of the problem.
But before we, and I would say, council, before we made that, before we said, yes, let's do that temporary fix, I want to make sure that council can look at everything, the holistic approach of what that could cause downstream for some other residents, before we go fix that, on how it could affect other people.
The other thing is I drove out there and I went over to 6710 where the crossover is a little further down the road. You know, we probably still need to talk to BMA because their old or their canal that pushes the water through there, you still have water that is going to be going into. They didn't go with a piping all the way to that crossover. It's a regular ditch.
Open ditch.
Have you been out there, James? No.
Since they piped it.
Yeah, so I'm wondering how they connected the pipe because I can't see, you gotta go to other property, but from the middle of the crossover, it's still two ditches that are in there. So, that's the biggest thing, just looking at that area, is how much water comes down from those properties and it funnels into that area. So if that ditch is still open, instead of using the regular, the piping in there, you're still gonna be pushing water into that area. So we gotta be able to take care of that portion of it, so we probably need to talk to BMA and see if they can go all the way to the gate and keep it covered. And then that way we don't run the risk of pushing any more water into that area.
No matter what we do, we have to work with BMA anyways, because we have to get their consent, actual legal form signed before we start doing any work on their property, if that's the option we choose to go. So that's the update.
6710 is that, 'cause I went, well, back when I was still in charge, I didn't see, I didn't see the ditch on that side.
Yeah, you gotta keep, so you go past, you'll have, you go past the end of Whitecap, I'm sorry, 6710, and then the last home, and then you have an open area, and then you have a reservoir. You keep going past that reservoir
Yeah, I saw the reservoir.
until it turns, and you go over the two gates. You see the two gates, the one that is the regular drainage and the one that is a BMA canal up to that area. And when you stop there, I took some photos, you can actually see they're both still there. They're open. So any water is still going to flow into that area. It's not piped. Now, if they have the pipe connected somewhere else, then, maybe we can just close the gates. But if it's not closed, we need the pipe to go all the way. If not, you're still going to get all the water going into phase 2. And just like Matt said, you might end up with other issues because you get the water, it hits where all the dirt is at, and guess what? It's going to start filling and going in an area that was never meant to be drainage, the way it's set up right now. So,
It's a mess.
yeah.
I'd just be afraid for us to make a change and it affects somebody else downstream, and then because of our change, they may have some legal recourse.
Yeah, and
Because we didn't.
Based
do
on the
due
pictures,
diligence.
the mayor and video, the mayor showed me a previous flooding out there. That's a big concern.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly understand the concern the resident has. I do not disagree with him. I just
Yeah.
think before we.
Will
do
it
something-
help? Yes, it will help. But you have to manage everything within, and I think the biggest obstacle right now is just getting CPS. You don't want to push water into an electrical box.
Yeah.
Plus, it's gonna go downstream, but some other areas too.
That's what we're talking about, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're afraid. There's already a bad spot on another county road. That water, any additional water we put in that we drain out of there that would hold, would now feed into that certain area and would make that flooding even worse.
If you guys have a chance, I know David can go out there, just go through that crossover.
Sure.
I think it'd be good, just so you can kind of get a visual and stuff.
Hey, Matt,
Yes, sir.
where are we on the drainage utility fund RFQ?
It's ready as
For the
well.
entire city.
It is ready as well. So I need to issue both of them. We got them back from legal. They've been reviewed by both engineers and legal to make sure that they're good to go. So we'll be issuing those. They're going to determine this week or next what the date ranges are going to be to have them out and receive them back.
Because what I've seen cities do is they develop a master drainage plan. So any effects of improvements out there at Lakeshore, like you're talking about, try to mitigate the damage
Yes,
downstream.
sir.
Because I think the last thing we want to be doing is flooding somebody else out.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this is just an update, so
Yeah.
we don't have any action or anything. But anybody have any other questions or anything? Okay. Well, Matt, keep us posted.
Yes, sir.
As soon as you find out.
So
something.
what's decided?
Nothing right now. We're waiting to hear
But
back.
you're gonna move forward with the RFQ.
Yes, we'll be issuing RFQs, yes, sir. That's being done,
Separate.
because no matter what, we know we need to look at what the entire drainage is out there to look at that, how can we mitigate it for the entire subdivision, not just one. And then we have the drainage fund
Right.
that we collect that would help support financing drainage projects.
But as of right now, we're not planning on doing any work ourselves.
As of this moment, no, sir. There's no work to be done.
I just wanna make that clear.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to G. Consider and act upon ordinance number 22-12 limiting the idling of heavy-duty vehicles to 5 minutes, setting an effective date and establishing an administrative penalty, and directing city secretary to publish notice. So council, we have an update on this one. Right before the meeting this afternoon, found out from our legal advice that there might be a possibility for us to be able to use TCEQ as a source to be able to help us being able to implement something like this, that they might already have something where we just join into an agreement and it's already lined up to what we're actually looking for. We need to study it a little bit further just to make sure, so I asked for a motion for us to go ahead and table this and bring it back to the next meeting.
Would it be table or take no action?
Table.
Table?
That's fine, table.
Okay.
They give us 2 weeks to work on it.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, Mayor, I move that we table this action upon ordinance number 2212 until next meeting.
Okay, got a motion for us to go ahead and table it.
Second.
Got a second? Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. 7, executive session. Do we have any updates that I need to, no? Okay.
No, Mayor. I'll send you an email on one little item, but it's not worth breaking up.
Okay, so we don't have anything to worry about executive session, so we'll go ahead and move on to number 8. Moving to the department reports. And first one, Santi, come on up. Bring us up to speed with animal care and control.
Okay, let me get this on and turn this mouse off. Yeah, I don't even get yelled at. There you go.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, shit. Technical difficulties.
Right.
Okay, the month of August, I had a 86 calls for service, one animal return, transferred 25 animals out, and took 10. Our animal count right now, we have 41 dogs and 28 cats. The number's gone down, it's going down, the dogs going down, going up, back and forth when we get dogs out, more come in. Seems to work with that. We get 10 out, we end up getting 5 in.
Are we getting close for the adoption program? Try to see if we can help.
Yeah, people coming by, looking at dogs. We they foster for a little bit to see how it'll work out at home, and if it works out, they end up adopting them. We tried one out. We had one take a dog, one of our dogs for foster to see how it works out. Didn't work out, so they brought her back. So
What's the fee
our adoption fee is $150. It's spayed, neutered, up to date on all the shots, microchip, and pretty much that kind of covers the cost of getting the animals spayed, neutered, and everything. So I had transferred 3 dogs, SNPSA, 5 dogs, the Humane Society, 9 cats, 2 Texas Humane Heroes, 3 more dogs, Humane Society, 3 cats off the Pets Alive, and then 2 dogs to Frontier Animal Society in Canada. Right now, most of our rescues that we transfer out to, the ones you see on the list, they're not taking any animals from us because they're full themselves, because they have to pull from certain animal controls that they have contracts with. So right now we're kind of on hold with some of them that we usually work with. August had 10 volunteers, total 40 hours. Had 4 new volunteers. We have a young lady and her mom that come every Saturday for like 1 hour. Miss Salazar and her daughter. So yeah, didn't get new volunteers here and there. And My animal medical balance is 10,244, and our spay neuter is 5,331. And the facility fund is still trying to figure that out, right? So.
Well, I'll be good for the new year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so far, up to date, August, these and I's 5, 4 adopted, and 205 and transferred to rescues. Bella's Pantry, 92 pet owners came for food, 8 new people. 5 were from Lytle and 3 from Atascosa. I'm not sure if it was Atascosa County or just the city Atascosa, Bear County.
Ooh, probably. I don't know.
figured
I would
so.
probably the city.
I would-
We've been right since we've been using cities.
Yes.
So
And here are a few animals that went to Quebec that have been adopted. Beatrice was actually kind of a dog we were having trouble in a trailer park down by the high school, always getting out. So one day I picked her up, they never came back for her, and Quebec, she went to Quebec and got adopted. Here are more.
there you go.
And Tommy, you see that cast on him, went up there. They ended up having to amputate his leg. There's more damage on that leg than they thought. Nick was one of 2 dogs that was found at McDonald's here.
All the way to Canada.
Yep.
Dual citizenship.
Yes.
Be
So, and then we have another transport coming up for them in October.
Santi, can you brief the council, in a sense, we've talked about doing different things with the adoptions, and then I think it was a great idea working with Richie, what you're thinking about doing?
Yeah, like posting dog of the month? Richie?
Well, I was thinking is if we could do a weekly adoption thing, I could spotlight it in my weekly news report, and see, I can attach flyers on there as well. I could mention it and then attach a flyer, and I mean, something.
I still think we can host maybe an adoption event several throughout the year, maybe some lower cost I don't know, just something we can do once our numbers get up. We can try to adopt them, because like I said, they're doing a great job in trying to get animals out to different rescues, and they're getting adopted, which is great. But when they're all full, then we get full, and then we still have more animals, and that's where we begin to get the overcrowding.
And
Could you spotlight one on our new
We can do anything we
super
need on our
duper sign
side.
out
Yes,
here?
sir.
That's another good point. Yeah.
Yep. We just gotta get the information, and then we can.
Lot of traffic
Yeah.
and
Yep.
get
Yeah,
somebody's
and actually,
interest,
We can do several, and just keep rolling them through.
October is Adopted Dog Month.
Well, that'd be great to do in October.
Find me the information on it, send me some pictures of some dogs that we have, and we'll get it posted on the site.
Richie, when you would need it by Friday, you put the newsletter out on Monday, right? That's when you send it out?
Yeah, I mean, just whenever. I mean,
Or the
if it's gonna
weekly.
be early Monday morning or something, I would get. If he's gonna do a flyer, I can attach a flyer. The key, I think, is that if you've constantly got something going, like if there's constantly something on the sign, and there's constantly something in the email. Right now, the people may not be looking for adopt, but when they are, they're gonna think of us because they're gonna see it, but out of sight, out of mind.
I'll come up with a flyer. I'll go with the
Can you
ladies.
do it like by every Friday, and that way we can get it to Richie and get it to Matt, and then we can put it up, start posting it out, we can help you,
Definitely we can do that.
okay? We can highlight, that'd be good. That'd be good, if we can help out one way or another, and then start planning some of those events for adoption too.
Okay.
So we can help out, so we can get it down to about 20,
Yeah,
okay?
definitely.
That'd be,
If
council,
you've got some stuff,
questions?
he's gonna be at National Night Out as well, so if he,
Oh, yeah.
we can bring some flyers and stuff there.
Definitely.
If he's got something going.
That'd be awesome. All right, thank you, Santi,
Yes, sir.
appreciate that.
I think it just is a clip.
All right, Cassandra, come on up. I know you're all happy. You're getting a roof. Whoop, whoop. That'd be awesome.
Well, I'm trying to get your TV.
Oh, okay.
There it goes. It's boots. There we go. We're back.
Yeah, 'cause I was here.
Don't touch it.
I'm not touching it.
I turned the mouse off. You should be good.
You're good.
All right, our adult computers went up. We had 125 people use it, but I think it had to do with everybody coming in because they needed to get ready for school. They were having to register. Everybody was last minute, and about 107 for the kids. Checkouts they went down, but it's again summer was over, so 1,413. And then we had 10 new accounts, 28 renewals, and April made 15 library cards. And we're gonna plan on doing the adult, or what's not gonna be a really adult, it's gonna be more like a family craft night, starting next month. So we'll be either second or fourth Tuesday of the month. And we're almost done with the library sections project. We just need the adult nonfiction. The last 2 weeks in August, we worked on it, or actually almost the whole month of August, we worked on it. April had been out for a week, and so Joe and I was okay, I'm gonna go get the Texas section and work on it, and then I'll pass it to you. And she's like, all right. And we got all the biography, so now we need is the adult nonfiction and then the graphic novels in the young adult section. We're still offering the curbside. We didn't have a whole lot of displays this month, but the last month actually, but this month we actually have a Hispanic Heritage Month right in the front as you walk in. We have Batman Day. Talk like a pirate, and then we have also fall we're going to put on the other side, and then we had Johnny Appleseed Day. So we're starting to work back up with and always the banned books. We have that right in the front. One little girl, in fact, she grabbed a book the other day, or her mom grabbed a book, and she said, "Don't grab it. The police are going to arrest you for grabbing it," because it had caution on it and it had this plastic chain. So she was so concerned that her mom was going to get arrested. And we no, she can take.
See where Richie's at?
Hardcore.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
But they're like that. So we're play the book festival grant, and then I'm going to use the money that we received from the Media Electric to buy items for the story time.
Awesome.
That's about it.
Awesome.
Any questions?
Council? So this fall, we're not going to be doing anything?
We're going to try to do a mini history fair.
Okay.
I've got to get with Carolyn. She said that she could talk to me a little bit about it.
Okay.
And then we're also going to do the pumpkin, where they decorate a pumpkin.
That's
we're gonna
awesome.
do that, probably starting next month. We'll start putting out the flyers for that.
We're gonna bring the cannon back?
I don't know what the Canon guy, because I don't know where he is, but we'll talk to Carolyn and see if she knows where he's at. Because last I had heard he was in Hondo, but then I don't know if he moved to another location.
Oh, we were talking to, was it Pastor James?
Yeah.
Right? They get all excited when you do it. I mean, yeah.
The kids
They-
love it. They're like,
They
Yeah,
love
the
it.
muskets and the cannon, yeah, that's a
They
good deal.
get all excited going down there, taking that and watching the folks cook the stuff
Yes.
and making the stuff and
showing
everything.
the kitchen, the 1860s kitchen, and the Dutch oven cooking.
So please let us know.
Okay, yeah, I will.
Please let us know. Council, anything else? Nope. All right, well, thank you. All right, Richie, so what's a pirate's favorite restaurant? Said talk like a pirate.
Huh?
Sorry, he's still sleeping,
No,
sir.
Pirate's favorite restaurant.
Yeah, Cassandra was talking about, we had the function of how they talk. So what's a pirate's favorite restaurant?
I don't know, what is it?
Arby's.
That's good, I
See?
like that, I like that. Now I'm hungry for Arby's.
All right, super skip.
Good evening.
Here we go. Let's take care of business.
All right. This past month, I removed debris and bulky waste at 12 locations. Brush was put out at the right of way either late or early, depending on the date, this past month at 21 locations. I addressed almost all of the residents there at those locations and advised them of the regulations about placing the brush on a certain date or time and location. This past month, I also had 26 yards that I addressed or maintained. Right now, I have 6 outstanding overgrown letters out to the owners of vacant residences that are really overgrown. Asked them to maintain it by the end of this month, or the city will contract the maintenance personnel and have it maintained and bill the owner, or place a lien on the property if the bill is not paid. I turned off sprinklers and water being used at 12 locations and advised the residences of the stage 3 restrictions. And at 4 locations, I advised people to obtain a permit for either a storage building, fence build, or house remodel restructure this past month. That's basically it. I did a few other things, but we're not really talking about.
I know you've done a lot, so appreciate all your advice on the trees, advice on the size of stuff for the brush and all
I
that.
don't know when the trees may come before, but I understand that the church over here may want to take down 2 pecan trees, but it has to go before their board and approved and all that. So,
Yeah, just walk them through the process in the sense of what they want to do, and or maybe offer different options that we might actually have.
yeah, definitely will.
And we might have some discussions later on that. Please pay close attention on some of the drainage areas too.
Okay.
You know, in a sense of just the grass cutting and different things that go on there. So if we need to take care of some areas that belong to us or maybe the residents,
All right.
it might be good to kind of remind them, you know, because we do have some properties that go into that. Some of them are ours, some of them are the residents.
Right.
Just so we can take care of the stuff. But
Okay.
I appreciate that.
I'm watching.
Council?
That one brush that's over there in Homine,
Yeah.
AEP came, they cut it like 30 minutes after they had already picked up the.
Yeah, right there at that vacant lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
I went out there, because we were gonna connect put the meter on that new house, and I asked them if they could cut the branches, and they said yes, they'll do it, but they cut one tree and then they came back the next day, but they got there too late.
Well, that's all right. It's all right. It's not blocking the roadway there, and it'll get picked up next month then.
Is that in the entrance right there?
No,
No, it's over on Water Street. And,
Oh, further down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, well, we appreciate that, taking care of that entrance portion of it.
You're welcome.
So, that's good. Thanks, Skip. Appreciate it. All right, James, Public Works.
Good afternoon, everyone. I don't know if y'all know what happened about 13 days ago. We lost water. They called for locates. We went out and located one line. It was about 5 o'clock. We promised to locate the other one first thing in the morning. The contractor got there early, told his crew to lay one more joint of pipe, and that's when they busted a 3-inch. So we lost water pressure Thursday for a little bit, finally got it fixed. This was sometime late. That evening, we were working some valves upstream, and we had a 12-inch valve break loose. So we went ahead and scheduled it for Sunday evening. Turned off the water at 10 o'clock. There was no water above ground in any of the storage tank, overhead tanks or anything anyway. You wouldn't believe it, but it took after 3 o'clock until the water quit raining down there at the creek. It looked like it was still under pressure at 2 o'clock. And we got those 2 12-inch valves put in, got the 3-inch repaired, and the water back on by daylight. Called TCEQ. We couldn't get an answer till about 10:30. They told us where to take samples. We took samples, got them into town about 12. 11 o'clock the next day, they told us the water was good, and that we rescinded the boil. And we have a contractor still has to lower 2 3-inch lines out there for TxDOT. Some mistakes somewhere along the line. We still got to do that.
You guys did a heck of a job. Kudos to the whole crew. And by the way, during that time, the crew actually took advantage of the low water pressure or the no pressure, and they went ahead and took care of 2 sites of 2 other projects that needed to be done. So they took advantage of that chance to go ahead and do that. So they were working some while we had the other folks working on the others. So we had 3 different places being worked on at the same time. So kudos and Matt for being out there, Richie stopping by and checking up on us. You know, that was good. It was a good team effort and being able to take care of that.
Okay, this is all in August. We put in 3 meters, repaired 1 main break, replaced 9 meters, replaced 4 service lines, and fixed 6 service line leaks. It seemed like we haven't run on service line leaks this summer. We found 2 customer leaks and had 2 sewer main stoppages. Locates, we did 36, rereads 74, finals and water and gas 28, news 17, and miscellaneous work order 17. It's kind of a chart on what we did. This is man hours, water installation 10 hours, water maintenance 240, sewer maintenance 16, sewer plant maintenance 238. 80 hours of meter reading, 20 hours of reread, 8 hours of asphalt, and 6 hours of base. Locates 38, mowing and shredding 16, burning brush 16, and a miscellaneous for 456 for a total of 1,144 hours. No vacation, no sick leave, no time off. That's a chart on our man hours. So, I got a copy if anybody wants one.
Yeah, you can go ahead and pass it out. That'll be good.
Oh.
Yeah. Anybody want one? No?
I'm good.
That'll be good. Thanks, James. Appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
That was good. All right. Richie.
Hello.
There we go.
Ooh.
You brought a PDF. That, you're not gonna be able to click through that one.
Well.
You got the
Did I
scroll.
email you? You got you're gonna click through it? Okay. Because I think maybe PDF was on the side, but I don't think. So, calls for service, what's that, 207, can you come down just a little bit there? Or up a little bit? There we go, that might help. Vehicle collisions, alarms, nothing really out of the ordinary there. Pretty standard month, you know. You can go on load that and drive up a little more on there if you want to. Keep going down some. I'm sorry. 48 business checks, 390 building checks, and nothing there out of the ordinary, just typical stuff. You can go on. 398 citations issued, majority of those for speeding. What else we got on there? What's the number 2 there? Again, a lot of driver's license related, registrations, stop signs. So it's a lot of activity out there. You can go on. We can go through the racial profile, and that's pretty in-depth. That's just to help us do the annual report. There's really, it'd take about an hour to actually break all that down and tell you what it is every month, but it wouldn't tell you much once you. I'm gonna try to regroup and do this a little different next time around, but it's just I hadn't done it yet. Okay, there we go. Adult arrest, you know, guys are out there making lots of arrests. You got warrant arrest, you got theft arrest, you got a lot of DWIs, a little bit of assault, bodily injury. Pretty much the same arrest we always have. Doesn't change a whole lot. Didn't have any juveniles, no robberies or aggravated robberies. None of that, no identity theft stuff this month. Burglaries, let's see, we're HEB Plus that took some power tools out of a vehicle. Lonesome Dove, that's a house under construction. They took a door, you know. That's out in Saddle Ridge, you know. Burglary vehicle at HEB, got his laptop in there and somebody broke in, got it. Now, you're gonna see, especially if we have 2 big subdivisions under construction, you're gonna have thefts out there daily. I mean, if you have 600-700 homes going up, because there's just that much of it. I don't know if there's any way around it. I mean, we're fairly fortunate with Saddle Ridge because of its location, one way in, one way out. But these others, you know, they're gonna be out there and you're gonna be able to do something, hit 2790 towards Somerset and be long gone before we even, I mean, we'll be looking at some options, but that's, you know, it's gonna be challenging. We will see quite a bit of property crimes increase this year because of all this, the thefts we've had out there. And we've made a lot of arrests out there too. We've made some good arrests. So one of the guys that Anthony and Frank arrested in December, he actually has hit in San Antonio and Bernie, he's hit several of their subdivisions out there. So I mean, it's just the guy's been, you know, he's just real prolific at the right time. So I'm sorry, go ahead, man. Thefts, they recovered a big piece of equipment taken out of Dimmitt County. It actually got dumped at one of the construction sites out there on 2790, one of the subdivisions where they're doing work. So that was a strange deal. And the only reason they figured out, I thought it was GPS, but a guy who knew the guy that owned it happened to drive by and say, it looks like so-and-so's
truck.
So things like that happen. HEB Plus, that's constantly going to be thefts. A bicycle, Huckleberry, that's a trash can. Now, I don't know if people really steal those trash cans or they're blowing away or the neighbor, I don't know. We had another theft today for a waste management trash can. I can't imagine them being that popular of items. They're big, they're bulky. Anyway, had a 2020 Dodge Ram pickup valued at $85,000 taken from down there. It was actually recovered in Corpus a few days later in good shape. So then we had HEB, had a 2003 Ford F-250 taken, and it was recovered in San Antonio that morning. Actually, I think there was a pursuit, and SAPD, you know, they had their helicopter and everything, found it, and nobody got arrested because they couldn't put anybody behind the wheel. Napa Auto Parts, catalytic converters, you can go up just a little bit more, ma'am. Still getting a lot of those catalytic converters. Are hit and miss on them, actually. Nothing lost and found. I don't know what going down. Oh, just let me see. What all? Man, we got to a lot of stuff. The DA's office put on some search warrant training. They wanted all the officers to go to. We sent people down to Pearsall and to Floresville. Which, siren test, convocation at the school. Guys went to some of their mandatory classes they have to try to have to get their intermediate. That's a canine encounters and interacting with deaf, hard of hearing. I'm sorry, what else we got there? Violence against women training. That's a grant funded deal that was available in Hondo. We try to take advantage of as much training as possible. And Frank and I went to the Lytle ISD Safety Committee meeting at the school on the 29th. So we're always, and there's always stuff in there we miss too. Because we do, I mean, I just try to remember everything, but go ahead, I'm sorry. Oh, we had a lot going. So the antique shop on Main Street, we eventually, I think, got them going. Stripes, we're working over there. I guess I'll go ahead and tell y'all now. You tell the mayor about it. So I've been trying to get in Stripes over there because they've got, you know, been shut down some, and they didn't call us for some inspections, which I thought was kind of odd. So I did go over and talk to the general contractor today and ask him, well, what's the plan here, man? When y'all plan on opening? And he told me February 2023. And I was like, I thought he was joking. Evidently, they're waiting on gas pumps. They have the diesel pumps, but they're waiting on the gas pumps, and that's if nothing else goes wrong. He thinks it's going to be February 2023, which is 5 months from now. So if you go in and place in there, they've got tens and tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment there. Nobody go break in and take that.
There's a security guard there.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. It's a red car. He sits out front.
Well, they're good. Thank you, Santi. I feel better now. But they've got all this equipment there, and it's just like there's dust over it, and you know, it's kind of mothballed right now, I guess, because we can't do our inspections till they get a little further along.
They're gonna miss out on the big wave in the holidays.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
I'm sure they don't want to because it looks really nice. It's a wonderful. If you haven't been in there, it's a wonderful big facility with everything state of the art, modern convenience store stuff. I mean, it's got to have a fried chicken place. It's going to have the taco place. Everything's, you know, just really top of the line. It's not not there yet. Tattoo parlor on Main Street, we had that. You wanna move on, see if there's something else next down on the next one there. So we went to the fire, we were fortunate in that the International Fire Chief Expo was in San Antonio, so four of us went down there to the expo. It's free to go to, but you meet with vendors and a lot of people are, you know, different things. So we got to spend some time down there. And then the Little Pirates daycare did the annual fire inspection over there. Anything else on fire marshal there, ma'am? Criminal cases, well, see, Ascos County Attorney's Office, we filed 9, we charged 9 people, filed 11 cases, 11 charges over there, which is quite a bit. And we filed 2 felonies, 2 suspects with 3 charges with the Ascos District Attorney's Office. We filed anything in Medina. Let's go to the next one. We filed 1 misdemeanor with Medina. Medina County now has a really neat system. It's electronic file like some of these big cities do, so we don't actually have to go over there. It's all uploading files and it's really neat, you know. It's got a lot of advantages to it. Where are we at on the bottom there? Let's go down one more page. One more page here. We should be in 5:810. Is there a next one there? Okay, there we go. 7:14 to 8:10. Probably could have had that up. No, because I did this back there. So I've been taking a lot of holiday. We've got everybody's basically scheduled for vacation. Like Sergio just started. So we got lots of people taking vacation between now and the first of the year. Got guys doing training. You know, had a guy out a little bit on light duty for a while due to a workman's comp deal when he had to chase a guy and arrest him. Non-paid officers, I'm really got to revamp that. I've got some people interested, and I've got to get that. I've got to work on that some. Anything else on there? No. Or is that the end of it?
No.
So that's it. Sorry, I don't know. I have to make sure I get but that's really what we got going. The 2 vehicles, I think, you know, we do finally have them up and running. Just put out a newsletter. You'll be getting it shortly with your bill, you know. I'll post it. I'll post it to the website. You know, I mean, we ordered them in October, and we got them up and running in September. So 11 months to get those 2 vehicles up and running. We have one of the vehicles that is stripped down, and basically I'll probably get with Matt and send it down to City Hall, so they'll have an admin vehicle down here to use. If they need, that's something he wanted to do, which we've done it. We've had that in the past. It's just been a number of years, probably 15 years since we've done that. So we got that going. Working with the school a lot. We were up at the school, the 4 of us were up at the school day for a couple hours today. They got a new SRO up there, a guy I've known since the 90s. And, you know, we're just working with him through all the challenges that a school has in a modern world after just start naming the school shootings and Uvalde being the most recent. So it's a lot going on, and of course we're trying to support them the best role that we can, and but it is a challenge. It will always be a challenge, because if you don't work up there, I mean, some people work up there, but the school's big. Physically, it's big, and there's a lot of rooms and it's and like David Lopez graduated there in 2009, but they added a bunch. They added the junior high, and they added on to the gymnasium. So a lot of that stuff, you know, he kind of forgot that there was a whole nother gymnasium there. So a lot of stuff like that. So we're having, we're working with them. Of course, we had the bonfire earlier. Other than that, I mean, really, it's a very, main thing, we're trying to get this year's budget closed out. And we feel very confident that next year, we're going to have a true representation, and we'll be able to get immediate answers on where we are on budget and immediate response with, just the daily operations. It'll take a lot of stress that at times I've endured. It'll just make it a little easier, And having Matt and Lynette have really helped. I don't know how the other department heads, but it's helped us a lot. Be able to focus more on what we need to be focusing on, without saying it another way.
Yeah.
I mean, I can work with anybody, but it does kind of help smooth the process, I think.
Well, we appreciate your presence everywhere, Rich, and the folks, whether it's at football games, different activities, different events.
Oh, we try.
We
Again,
appreciate that.
it is. We for example, we try to hit school zones. Well, today, for example, we had an accident up on the interstate, you know, on the overpass, one vehicle accident, everybody was tied up for all during that time. But, you know, I mean, we got a good working relationship with everybody around us, and but it is about being out there and being seen. We're not, you know, we don't, you know, there's plenty of work to do in the office. It's just we have to make sure we can, you know, coordinate, you can balance it out, you know, because I can find something to do in the office every day, all day long, just about. And but we're very fortunate. I mean, we'll be working to, if Matt gets off probation or whatever and becomes the uninterim city administrator, or maybe just take away the whole interim, but then, you know, we'll be working to fill that position, his vacancy sometime after the first year, probably. That's the plan.
Good. All right.
Any questions? Oh, National Night Out next Tuesday. You know, we've got a DJ. We've got, you know, we got a pretty good assortment of people volunteering. We got a bounce house. Somebody's got a bounce house. First Baptist Joseph with Trinity Baptist bounce house, and we're pretty excited. You know.
And the free hot dogs.
Free hot dogs. We need to get that. You know, we kind of.
That'll be
Free
there.
hot dogs. We're gonna have some ice cream. We're gonna have some drinks. We're gonna have.
Good showing.
It'll be
Good
fun.
showing.
It's still a little. I wish it was a little cooler. But you know, we'll be inside at least. But it's you know, at least have some stuff inside. I'm a little challenged by the heat that we're facing. But anyway.
It'll be good.
Any questions?
Anything else?
Feel free to reach out. We'll, you know.
Okay.
Pretty much all.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it, Richie. All your hard work. Okay, we're gonna go ahead. We're already at 8 o'clock right now. So we're gonna go ahead, and we usually like to stop a little bit. I know we got a few things more to go ahead and cover, but we'll take a break right now. Charles, thank you for joining us. Are you gonna continue with us after the break?
Might as well. I've lasted this long there.
All right, we'll try to make it quick so we can go ahead and take care of that. So it's 8 o'clock right now, but before we go on break, all right, because we don't know whether or not you'll be here for the next meeting. We got Super Skip's birthday coming up on the 13th of October. So if you all can join me, we'll go ahead and wish Skip a happy birthday. So here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you.
Cha-cha.
Happy birthday to you.
Cha-cha-cha.
Happy birthday, dear Skip. Happy birthday to you.
There you go. Make a wish.
Thank you. Got it.
No tree brush. There you go. There you go. Happy birthday. Okay, let's go ahead and take a quick 10-minute break.